everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today we're doing some more F tier Fridays. So for this F tier Fridays, we're doing a hero that I don't actually think is F tier, but has historically been kind of struggling, which is Fai. But I think Fai has actually gotten to kind of a lot better of a place recently, just because of the kind of predominance of like Florian. Florian tends to be a deck that wants to block a lot, and Fai does kind of punish decks that want to just kind of like D-react spam and just kind of like tank a bunch. And I think this deck is actually like pretty okay right now, surprisingly. I've seen a lot of pretty good players pilot this deck like recently, and I think it's like definitely a pretty good meta call into Florian as he's been kind of like running rampant, but also just other kind of like slower decks as well. I think he's doing all right. I don't think he's had like the most impressive results, which is why I think he's still probably going to struggle, especially maybe even after the like ban restricted that's coming up. But for now, he's like pretty playable for honestly. Like he's actually like seems like a pretty solid deck. So for this F tier Friday, I've kind of taken a list that I think was mostly kind of inspired by like Lupine Fiasco's list from like a couple months back. He's kind of like my go-to guy for Fi lists. I kind of tweaked this list and modified it just to be kind of a little bit more tuned for maybe my local meta and just kind of like my kind of personal taste. I think that his list is a pretty good baseline to kind of like base your fire deck off of, just in terms of like ratios and stuff like that. Yeah, but this is the list I'm going to be playing today, so pretty aggressive 60. The only card that I'll probably note here is just Ancestral Empowerment, which can sometimes be a little bit awkward, especially with like Oath of Loyalty and stuff like that, but I still like running Empowerment in my Fi decks just because it's a pretty decent breakpoint and also just gives you some filtering, fixing, just a solid 0 for 1 that also kind of replaces itself is not too bad. And yeah, for the most part, nothing too spicy here. I did want to mention quickly that's like the cool new thing that the Hunted added for Fi is like the Dragon Scalar Flight Path plus Searing Ember Blade combo. So you can basically like swing with this another time, which I think it killed us in one of our previous After Fridays, which is very cool. So you can basically you can basically like give your Everblade go again or give something go again and then attack with a weapon additional times, which means you can swing with your Emberblade one more time, which is also really cool. Yeah, but that's gonna be the deck for the day. Also, I have my camera off just because I feel a little bit sick, so I feel kind of gross. But in my place, hopefully, will be a looped image of our cats. So we'll try to get that on recorded. But yeah, this list seems pretty solid. Let's go ahead and give it a spin. All right, so we've got a Marionette. So what do we want to do in the Marionette? I think we probably just still want to go second. Oh wow, the little buttons wobbled. That was kind of crazy. Tunic's probably fine. Yeah, the equipment sweep seems fine. And then let's bring in our kind of D-React package here. Snag seems quite useful. Wax on seems pretty useful. Anything we want to cut here? The energy potions are like a little bit awkward. I honestly maybe even want to bring in like one tenacity and maybe just fat deck a little. I'm kind of okay with that. Yeah, let's try like this and see how it goes. Maybe fat deck slightly into Arakni does make a bit of sense. All right, looks like they are on a, I think just barely over 60, 61 cards. Good information. Cut from the same cloth. Sure. It's like pretty bad. So I am definitely incentivized to block out a bit here. I think I'll go ahead and just hold on to the Wax on for Arsenal. Actually, I probably want to hold on to the blues. Maybe I'm blocking with Tenacity plus the Lava Burst. Holding on to the blue is good in case we draw into a starter. Seems like we're on more of the Tao style dagger Marionette. It looks like they're going to get the early flick off. Also makes sense. Yeah, this is a deck that I've seen a lot of people play recently, just with the cut from the same cloth and the dagger buffs. Seems pretty solid right now. Okay, we have our snag, which is mainly going to be used for blue pitch here. I guess we'll go ahead and just start by threatening mounting anchor. Yeah, it seems fine. Maybe get an initial +1 on our ignite. Maybe force them to block a little bit weird. They did flip in a funnel web, which I think is pretty alright for us because we do have the wax on, so it's pretty much useless. Alright, we'll decline our links and go ahead and turn it off. Red banish that ignites, which may or may not be relevant, but giving the +1 value if they don't block is pretty solid. Fortunately, you're not going to really be able to make great use of that resource off of the ignite because it's going to discount our Ember Blade. Don't really have a way to like push anything or do anything crazy, but still sending damage, which is always good. If we force some blocks, I think I'm more than happy with that. All right, let's get our Ember Blade swing in, and then we'll finish on our Finks Flame. Pretty alright turn for Mess, honestly. And starting with tempo as Fai is just always very, very solid. Go ahead and close chain and just arsenal our wax on here. Alright, this next hand is okay-ish. Yeah, it's not bad. We can do Brand into Emberblade into we'd have to like pay 1 to send the extra breaking point. So Mark of the Black Widow, they can obviously pump with the Funnel Web. I feel like 7 is the correct block here, but there's not really an efficient way to do that because we only have 1 here and 5 here. Could just give him breaking point. We don't have to get the Rupture on this, notably. We could just like block with 1, end on this, no Rupture. I think that's kind of fine. What happens if they go again here? It's a little bit awkward. I feel like they're gonna be pumping almost for sure. So we'll go ahead and just use our wax on here. They don't have to do anything here, but they're still IPing unless they want to like break snappies or whatever, which I think I'm okay with. I think this block makes sense just because they're very likely to be able to pump 7. Yeah, it seems like they maybe are just going to conserve the card there. All right, we'll start with the Brand here. Fortunately, Tunic counter's not up, which means we could threaten the breaking point, but I'm still kind of fine just sending it here. I'd also get a Phoenix Flame and put it in Arsenal. Is that risky? That might be a little risky. But it is like a starter. We do have another Phoenix Flame in the deck. Huh. What would a good 5 player do? I feel like that might be correct. To just buy back a Phoenix Flame. We can't buy it back there because it costs 1. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to buy back the Phoenix Flame. Not sure if that's like a faux pas. A faux pas. It seems kind of alright, just so you're like guaranteed a starter, but it does feel awkward because then you're not able to like buy it back next turn unless you like close chain or do something weird. So I don't know. Alright, Saber Bloodshed's almost assuredly going to get the card draw value here, so there's no real sense in blocking this, I think. So we'll go ahead and just let them take it off the dagger. I think if they want to race, I'm more than fine with that, because we do have a pretty decent life lead here. First Loyalty is a little bit late, but better late than never. Alright, do we want to block this? Probably not. They do have a 4-card hand, which is like a little bit scary. But they always have the ability to flex, so I guess the mark doesn't really matter here, I feel like. Alright, the Bonds of Agony. Well, unfortunately, we do have 2 Brand with Cinderclaws in hand, which makes blocking this painful. So what's our play alternatively? I feel like we should at least block with one of these Brands and then just let them take whatever from the other thing. Could also overblock a little bit, but then they can punish with snaps. That depends. I feel like blocking is maybe okay. But if we block like this and then just like bait them into taking the last card in hand. So we don't really want this card, but it's still like fine if they want to like try to fight for it. I basically want them to invest resources here as opposed to just like giving it go again. And so get a -3 there. And take up the mantle is a-okay. Could also notably pitch into Fai just to make it so they can't get the Brand. I think that's also kind of reasonable. So we'll take 2 off of this interaction, which is like fine. And then they can do whatever. Obviously lost a little bit of tempo there, but I think we're still kind of in fine shape here. I think we also... Did we do that pitch during... wondering if we did that pitch during reactions. We probably shouldn't have, in case they wanted to like snap. We probably should have waited until after reactions. Okay, so we got Phoenix Flame in Arsenal. Is there any reason to play the Phoenix Flame? Not really. It's a little bit awkward having it in the arsenal, but we will make do. Unfortunately, this is going to be a little bit of an awkward hand with the Oath plus Empowerment. But I think we're still fine here. Go ahead and give them the dagger hit. And it looks like this might be another blocking turn. Notably, they do have 2 cards in hand. Kind of almost want to like just block 7 on this. And then if they take a 0 for 4, that's maybe okay. They could also snap it if we overblock too much. I feel like maybe we're just discarding this empowerment and then our hand's kind of fine afterwards. So we'll go ahead and let this hit, I think. The empowerment's not really doing a ton for this hand anyways. No, they will get going on this, but I think that's fine. Right, Leave No is a little bit painful, especially with a Phoenix Flame in Arsenal. So maybe that's the reason not to do it, but I guess they could have also had like, you know, like the Stealth Graveyard hate as well. Definitely feels like there's maybe pros and cons to that. We can block 4 on this, which is kind of alright. This is block 2. Could also just block with the Breakpoint plus Scales and see what they do. They can't really flick. They can give Go again if they really want to, but I think that's fine. So one thing we can actually do here is we can like buy back Phoenix Flame after attacking with it, like Phoenix Flame, Close Chain, then do... Oh no, we have to play Oath first. So I actually think there's a really clean way to do that. No, I don't think there is, because we need to play Oath as the first thing we do this turn. So we'll just do 0 for 4, 0 for 4 into 1, I guess. Definitely feels like maybe arsenaling that Phoenix Flame was wrong that turn. Potentially. Still like fine here. But like we did have to like protect our arsenal, which has some kind of weird value, I guess, attached to it. Alright, go ahead and send in the flame. Fortunately, again, we don't have another flame to buy back here, but I think that's still fine. I think we're just gonna pass here. Take our value where we can get it. Hopefully try to set up for maybe a bigger turn next turn. Alright, there's the second loyalty, which is quite nice. Feel like we're still just taking this dagger. Hand's actually pretty alright. I think Codex is like the worst case scenario here. Mark the Black Widow is like a little bit scary. What is the play here? Could just discard the loyalty from Beyond the Grave. And then we just draw an extra card at the start of return. Like, I don't feel like giving armor or blocking this is actually relevant. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the links, by the way, just in case. But I feel like maybe taking this is correct. Yeah, sure. We'll take it. They have the Codex. It's going to be pretty painful. But we'll go ahead and discard the loyalty. All right, setting a CNC. I think that is a-okay with us. So we'll take a little bit of damage here, but we're going to be able to... Oh, right, we have to banish the loyalty. Ah, okay, so that's not as good as I thought it was. I forgot it's not discard. That would make sense. I think this is still fine, though. Brand, pitch to Ember Blade, and then Lava Burst, and we're still sending a pretty decent amount of damage. Try not to overthink it too much. Feels like this game's been very even. It feels like their cards are very similar on rate to my cards, except theirs all have on hit discard. Just kind of why I think Fai is like, I don't know. He's like fine. He's like, I think slightly better into like Florian and some other stuff, but he does kind of to some extent feel like a assassin without on hits. Just a little bit sad. We could. This is not going to do anything because we don't really have the. Well, I guess we do have the resources to swing it with Emberblade if we really want to. No, we don't because we paid the extra resource there. Still fine. Still have our links up, which we do need to use before they kill us. But the Lavaverse coming in for 6 is quite nice. If we get 2 cards out of them here, I think I'm happy with that, unless they obviously have Codex. Even if they have Codex, it's probably not the end of the world. Ooh, if we get a full turn, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape, especially with the spreading flames here. All right, so let's, I guess, start with the flames. Then we can do Brand into Emberclaw, or Brand into Cinderclaw, theoretically. Or, sorry, Brand into Emberblade. I don't know what I'm fucking saying. Draconic Text is not less, so this would get buffed. Yes, I think so. Could also do this first and then pull Tunic to end on Dragon Power or something like that. Which is more damage. Sorry, I don't feel super good, so I'm gonna just take the line that makes more sense, but it might be actually better to. I feel like the order of the brand does matter here. I feel like it's just better to play out the Dragon Power though in terms of rate, because we're getting the nice little what is this 1 for 5. It's definitely not bad. Opponent does also have to worry about links. We did show them 1 tenacity, which I think is our only tenacity at this point. So unfortunately we can't punish them like that. So now we play the brand. Oh, it's still awkward because we can't Phoenix Flame then. Unless we pull Tunic, but then we can't do that either. I guess we're just arseling Phoenix Flame again, which kind of sucks. Yeah, it does kind of suck. So we do get a Lynx, but I'm wondering if we just don't use it again. It does feel like it's almost now or never. I guess we still have a little bit of time. They only have 3-card hands. Let's not pop it just because I feel like it doesn't help us a lot. I guess we'll pull Tunic here just to send the Dragon Power in for 6. Or for 7, rather. Oh, right, the 7 from the spreading. I think this still works out, but it does feel a little bit clunky. You still get to buy back our Phoenix Flame, so we're kind of immune from Codex for what it's worth. But they did have a Codex last turn, so it makes me think that this card in Arsenal is not Codex. Interesting. So how do we want to start this off? So you can't really Emberblade this turn, which is fine. Can we, like, close the chain after playing out the Phoenix Flame? That would work, right? Because we can do 3 Draconics. Or no, we can only do 2 Draconics. Yeah, Arsenal Phoenix Flame is always super weird to me. I guess we'll go ahead and just start with the brand here. It's still fine because we'll get our Shuko pump anyways. So I don't think it really matters. Like, it's basically like we activated Fai this turn anyways, but we just played around Codex, which is, I guess, still fine. Can maybe even look to use our Scalers plus Links here. It's probably the turn to cash it in if they decide to try to keep some stuff. But they might be almost at the point where they're kind of in like a Fai lock almost. All right, they are going to get a mark though, which is pretty all right. We are sending him for some good damage this turn, and we're also keeping an arsenal, which should be pretty good against their codex, although they are coming up on tunic counter. So they have a blue, gets a little bit scary. Let's, I guess, go for it here. Let's maybe not go for it on this chain link though. We'll say nothing on that. I guess we have like time to determine like what they're doing, so I don't think there's any real reason to pop links just yet, because we should be able to block, or we should be able to get off the lava burst. And we can also activate our scalers after damage is dealt, which is pretty cool. Which means like we don't have to like commit to scalers and then like we don't use our action point and then we like don't have anything to do after it, which is pretty cool. Let's see what they're gonna roll. What's the worst case scenario here? It's definitely not Org Weaver. I feel like this is like has to be like the worst Arakni, which is sad. Go ahead and grab our links. So Salt is coming in for 5, which is fine. Don't really have a better target, do we? Yeah, 5 damage is 5 damage, and we'll go ahead and just give it go again. This is this combat chain. So yes, we cannot like close chain and do anything fancy with that. Okay. 5 damage is 5 damage. We force another block out of hand. We're sitting on a wax on. I think things are pretty alright for us. Alright, seems like you're gonna go 1 here, which is a-okay with me. We're also taking an off tunic counter, which is really good, which means like less likely to get codex or things like that. And it's pretty unlikely they're gonna be able to kill us off 3 cards here. Seems pretty unlikely. Right, so they're gonna get that free hidden. I don't think there's any real reason to try to block this, so we won't. Did draw another Phoenix Flame, which is a little awkward. I mean, they're getting kind of close to killing us for what it's worth, but falling a little bit short here, I think. So again, just wax on this. Be efficient. Wax on is just a powerhouse into assassins. And yeah, it seems like they agree that Waxon is the powerhouse. Let's see what they were drawing into. Okay, so it seems like they just didn't see their codexes for a while. I think they did pitch maybe 1 earlier. I can't entirely remember. I don't know if they got the chance to shuffle. I don't think they did. Yeah, I don't think they did. But yeah, fight's pretty solid. Just good value gameplay. I think we did see a little bit of that awkwardness between the empowerment and the what was the card? The Oath of Loyalty. But I still think empowerment is kind of worth including. Or maybe it's a little bit of a pet card for me, but I do definitely enjoy that card in terms of like forcing through chain links and stuff like that. All right, let's see if we can get one more. All right, so we got a Jarl, which can be a little bit of a tougher matchup from what I've heard. I feel like go first in Jarl. Don't know if that's correct. Let's bring our tenacities, bring in our extra blues. Loyalties are probably fine. Snag might honestly even be fine as extra blue. We do also have the E-Pots for what it's worth. I'm just going to bring in some extra blues just so that we're a little bit safe from that. And I think the equipment here still makes sense. So yeah, we'll run it. Start with that Phoenix Flame. All right, what kind of Jarl are we? The Civic Steps, to me, feel almost like they're more of an Ice Jarl. I don't have a strong baseline for that, but we'll go ahead and just start with the Oath here. Imagine we're probably not getting Frostbitten this early. But we'll go ahead and make a fealty here, which is pretty decent value turn 1. I think we'll go ahead and just pay 1 to buy back our Phoenix Flame here and just send it in. And then we can arsenal this other Loyalty Be from Beyond the Grave, which might not matter for a bit. But arsenaling be react against Jarls, not terrible. All right, no links for us, and we'll go ahead and pass it back. Probably turn off the links for now, just because I don't imagine we're going to want to try to pop it super early in this matchup. This hand's pretty good. We got some kind of interesting stuff going on here. We got like the brands plus the Art of Dragon Blood, which the next 3 Draconic cards. So it does seem like they're a bit more of an Ice Jarl. Right, so they will give us a frostbite here if they hit, which they're very likely to do, but we do have the... Well, I guess it's awkward because now I guess we have to like pitch this, maybe? Yeah, I think that's fine. Debating whether or not we want to even play like the loyalty here, just to, like get it out of arsenal. Might be correct. Maybe? We'll go ahead and play it, I guess, just because like it's pretty likely that Jarl attacks him with CNC at some point in the next couple turns. So I don't know. Sitting on a D-React against Jarl is always a little risky, just because like they do have a lot of anti-D-React tech. Let's go ahead and start with the mounting. Notably, this Art of Dragon Blood's probably not going to be doing very much this turn. But we could probably use it as a Chain Ender. Heard this matchup's like a little bit tough for Fai. I'm curious to see how it kind of plays out. Definitely feel like the more ice-focused Jarl is scarier to me. Go ahead and play out the Ignite just so we can get our free Phoenix Swim here. Grab Flame. Get an extra little 2 damage there is not bad. Yeah, I think we'll go off an Arsenal here, just sort of playing around CNC at least a little bit. Makes it significantly worse. Alright, we'll take our damage where we can get it there. Rake Over the Coals is an interesting card. I don't know if this is necessarily what we want into Jarl, but I could see it being alright. I wonder if you board this out into Jarl. You definitely see that being the case. Alright, we got a CLF. Very spooky. They will be keeping it around here as well. Alright, so we're not really incentivized to attack into a CLF, so we might as well just block here. Happens if we just send Emberblade for 3. It's probably your best line, right? Just block like 4 like this. Hold on to the blue 3 block in case it matters. We'll lose our fealty for what it's worth, but like fealty's not insane or anything, right? We'll just get our 3 value here. Take a little bit off turn, not take a bunch of damage, just Arsenal the Rake. Hopefully they're not able to keep this around for another turn, but seems semi-likely, especially against an Ice Jarl. Right, 4-card Jarl hand, no blocks is a little scary. Could be getting messed up here, especially on this hand. This is a Fai hand if I've ever seen one. Right, they're pitching a Blizzard. They're also not gauntleting, which means that the card... it means they have a Pummel for sure. I guess the question is, like, what do we want to do against Pummel? So if it is Pummel, they're not keeping it on CLF, which means we can, like, play out the E-Pot safely. Which means, I guess we're just, like, blocking 6 and then discarding Empowerment. Is probably my line. Yeah, I'll go ahead and make them use it here. We'll take 6 here. They discard the Empowerment. We set up an E-Pot, and I think we're almost... We're not ahead of that interaction, but we're not attacking into them, so they could draw a hand that's, like, very clunky. And they're also not keeping CLF around, which I think I am very happy with. But yeah, I wonder if you're supposed to actually board out Rake into this matchup. I could definitely see that. Yeah, like most decks I play on After Fridays, I'm not an expert in them by any stretch of the imagination. I might, depending on what we get hit with here, we might honestly be using that E-Pot right away. All right, we got a Gauntlet here. Sure. Not wanting to play out the Crumble is interesting. They are going to smack in for 10 here for what it's worth, which is pretty reasonable. But we do have a pretty good hand. I don't know if it's necessarily like the best hand in the world or anything like that, but it is like solid. We can do some stuff with this hand, so I think there's no real incentive to block here. If they pummel us, it's whatever. We probably discard another Awakening or something. But yeah, it's pretty big damage, especially off of what was it? This is a 5-card hand that we gave them. So yeah, pretty non-bricky 5-card hand there. At least we're not losing any armor or anything, which is nice. So I think we can definitely come back from this. So let's go ahead and start with a rake. I guess we'll start with a rake from Arsenal. And we'll pull Tunic here. And so if you played another red card, so yeah, we can just go ahead and Flame Call this. They're probably pretty incentivized to try to like Stalagmite this, but we do have the E-Pot to hopefully kind of circumvent that. Okay, yeah, and I think we will. Let's go ahead and I guess just use the E-Pot in response. And then I guess we're playing the second one out. Let's also maybe turn on our mask here in case we want it. I think we're a little bit scared of Blizzard, but I also feel like if they had Blizzard, they might have used it already. Let's not get off links yet. We do have Tenacity, or do we? I think we still have a second Tenacity in this configuration. So we'll go ahead and I guess play out Display here. I feel like we're not getting another Frostbite this turn. But I do think we have some pretty solid options for what we can do here. Yeah, if they go for a very block-heavy line here, we could be able to punish them pretty good with the Tenacity. It's not Tutor here. Tenacity is for +3 currently. I want to make them like kind of overcommit a little bit. If they want to just like block out this turn, I'm kind of fine with that, and we still just have links around. And if they want to let it hit, then we're also kind of fine with that. All right, get our Phoenix Swing for 4 here, which should be pretty awkward to block. And okay, so they blocked with 4 cards here. So it's coming in for +6. I think we're still popping links here. It's a little bit awkward. We can also get if we want to get buffed by Replicals, it might actually be better to just get a Lava Burst here. Yeah, it's probably actually is better. I guess theoretically we could have like used our fealty to make Tenacity Draconic or something. But I think this is also like fine. I guess we were getting like +1 damage if we did that, but then we were using our fealty to do that. I don't know. It's like fine-ish, I guess. All right, do you have the Crumble here? That is okay. Do you have the extra blues here, which is quite nice. So it should be actually able to pay for this no issues. All right, seems like they're going to try to take out Shuko. Makes sense. Go ahead and pitch the Warmongers here. And Ignite is quite nice because it also lets us play around Stalagmite. Okay, seems like they're going to go for it anyways. We could have a Blizzard here or something, which would also wreck us a little bit. But it's not even that bad. Okay, go ahead and send in with the Umberblade, costing 1. We can also play this, then Phoenix Flame, then Tenacity. Assuming no Blizzard or anything like that. They did pitch a Blizzard earlier, which is a little scary. But I think we're probably just not holding back here. We're thinking we're just going to finish on Tenacity here. seems pretty solid given their play patterns here of just they threw 2 equipment in front of the first thing, they threw 1 card in front of this. They might give us like a gauntlet here or something, and then we're coming in for a bunch. This matchup does seem pretty hard though, especially this version of Jarl. I feel like COIB we might be have a little bit of a better time into, but the Ice Jarl tends to be quite interactive, and Frostbites do mess us up pretty bad. Finish on the Tenacity, which is 0 for 5. Not like the craziest card in the world, especially given how they blocked here, but still pretty decent. Yellow 0 for 5, not too bad. Right, seems like they're maybe geared up to take 3 here. All right, we do still have a little bit of work we gotta do, but they are at 8, which is not nothing. They are also going to have Dominate on this, which is definitely annoying, depending on what they do. All right, pulling Tunic as well. Sure. Right, into a CNC. Notably, we don't really care about, but... Oh, they're not even able to keep their seal off around. I don't think there's any card in the game that lets them keep their seal off around. So I guess we're just fine with this, right? I don't see a real reason to do anything. Sure, we'll go ahead and take 6 here. And this is why I've kind of been going off on Arsenal, just because like they still have had 2 CNCs left in the deck. Generally, always good to try to play around stuff like that. All right, so what are we starting off with here? Kind of feel like it's maybe the Renegade. I'll try to hold back the mounting a little bit, or maybe even Arsenal mounting. I feel like it's pretty safe to keep an Arsenal after this point. And we are also coming up on Tunic counter next turn. Could also just send it though. It's just a little bit awkward in terms of sending in the Ember Blade. Yeah, the Frostbite there is definitely a little bit awkward. All right, giving us some blocks here makes sense to me. We can kind of strip their hand here. I think we're in a pretty okay spot. It's generally like if they do like a 1 card Jarl hand, it's generally just like making a Frostbite or maybe like Winter's Bite or something, which is good, especially in the current kind of game state where we don't have Tunic up. But it's not the end of the world, I feel like. All right, so they're choosing not to sink anything, which means their hand is pretty all right. I think we're still just getting our Phoenix Flame back here. Right, blocking with gauntlets. So definitely geared up for a scary hand from them potentially. All right, so we don't really mind, I feel like. It's kind of anti-tempo and also not super impactful, I feel like. All right, coming with the Buckling Bow, coming in for 11. It's not bad. On hit, also making a Frostbite. Could theoretically just block this out and then pass. Because there's not really a ton efficient we can do here. And it's pretty unlikely that Jarl's able to do like 10 damage unless it's like Oakenold plus something. Which is unlikely. So option 1 is block 11. Option 2 is we block like 3, take 8, take 2 Frostbites. Then we can like do Brand into Art of Dragonblood. It might be better. Maybe just give them a bit of armor here. What if we give them these 2? Because this is just Buckling Blow. It's just gonna put a -1 counter. It's not Mangle, so it's not gonna break anything. So we'll drop to 4 here, and then we also get to keep this hand. If they draw into Blizzard, we get like wrecked, but not wrecked that hard. I mean, we do get wrecked pretty bad, but they also have to like spend a card and then block with a card, so maybe it's fine. So yeah, let's go ahead and do this. I think we'll take a second Frostbite, and then we have to pitch this Salt to the brand. And then our Dragon Blood will be free, and we got, I think, some pretty good stuff going on. Right, giving it on the Tunic makes sense to me. All right, so we'll start with the brand here, pitching the Salt. I think if we have a blue here, this actually gets really good because it means we can like sneak an extra Emberblade in. Actually, I think we can sneak. No, an extra Draconic cards you play get a -1, so we can't actually. It's not discounting Draconic attacks or whatever. Still a pretty decent line here. Seems like they gotta have React here, which is fine with me. If they're just Titans fisting, we give them a card, and then we get to keep a 4-card 5-hit, pretty decent 5 hand. So I think we're still in pretty good shape here. Play the Mounting, get a Phoenix Flame in response. On hit, banish the Phoenix Flame. Pretty decent. We did give up Shuko for what it's worth. But I don't think we had a way to actually get the Shuko pump this turn, did we? Yeah, I think this is our only, so we're not actually losing on any damage there. Alright, seems like they're just going to give last card in hand. Alright, we'll go ahead and pass it back. Alright, and this hand should seal the game, but they could have like Blizzard plus stuff. I don't know if Blizzard even saves them here because we do have the extra blue. It's not bad, but Blizzard definitely does some work here, but I don't think it's enough to like actually save them. Alright, they did have it. We will go ahead and use our blue there. Let's brand next. Then we can pull Tunic to get our flame. Oh, and then we can't Breaking Point. Oh, maybe we just send the Breaking Point anyways. Whatever. I was just styling on them clearly. I guess they can go to 1 here. Sure, that's fine. I think there was a way to kill them there for sure. I'm just dumb and miscounted. We'll see if we get punished for it. Hopefully not. I'm giving you all more Fai gameplay by misplaying, so you all should appreciate that. We're still stripping their hand here, basically. So it's like fine. I guess we Arsenal Warmongers. I guess we probably don't even do that, right? Right, Fritz is actually pretty solid. But that does mean we potentially can't kill them. Alright, this game is looking a little bit dicey. Especially if they're able to, like, just swing weapon at us. Yeah, we might have punted. Hopefully never punished. Okay, cool. They didn't have the Titan's Fist swing. What are we doing with this hand? This hand's pretty bad. I guess we can, like, get a Phoenix Flame or something. I don't know. My brain is kind of falling out at this point. Let's go ahead and Emberblade. So I'll buy back Phoenix Flame with Fai ability. Play Phoenix Flame, play Headlong, play Lava Burst. Still works out. Could like, I think that obviously I think there was a punt there on that one turn because I miscounted. But seems like we still got there. So they had a Frostfang in Arsenal. So this is definitely more of like an Ice Jarl, which I think is like a pretty decent meta call for once Florian gets a potential like nerf. I think like this style Jarl does get a bit better. Although my like reservation with this style of Jarl is just like it does, I think, struggle a little bit into assassin. Although I'm not entirely sure how much. I'm curious to see how this like version does into like especially like the new heroes like Gravy Bone stuff like that. It still seems like Jarl might struggle into the upcoming meta, but I'm not 100% on that. It could definitely have its own little like niche, but definitely a new pseudo illusionist is going to make that, I think, a little bit difficult. All right, so I think that's probably going to wrap it up for today. So this was my F tier Faiday deck. This is just a kind of a rip on Lupine Fiasco's deck, but I think I added my own little bit of spice to this list. I think it's pretty reasonable. I like there are a couple pet cards I think I like here just from my old days playing Fi, like Spreading Flames and like Ancestral Empowerment. I think are cards that I'm a big fan of. But I definitely can see that like you're probably supposed to maybe cut the empowerment just for the like anti-synergy with like Oath or whatever. But I think there's still like maybe some merit to running this card anyways. Like I think doesn't Syndra like run this card anyways, like even with the Oaths? I could be wrong on that, but I think there have been some Syndra lists I've seen that run like both of these, which is kind of interesting. But anyways, yeah, fun list. Again, I don't know how much Fi gains in terms of like the upcoming meta. Like it seems like I don't know. He's always been kind of like, or at least like the past couple metas, he's kind of just been like the third or fourth best aggro deck, which is not a terrible spot to be. Like any aggro deck is like pretty good, but I think they're definitely like better aggro decks. Like there are aggro assassins, better maybe some better like aggro decks in the new set, that kind of thing. But he's still a lot of fun. And again, I kind of have a soft spot for him because he was the first hero I ended up playing. I think he was the hero that introduced me to the game. But still a really fun hero. I'm kind of glad he's still around in kind of like a different form post Hunter, which is really cool. Yeah, but I think that's gonna wrap it up for today. So thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.